All right, welcome. My name is Sasha Bozio, and welcome to my channel, Log Into Yourself. I'm glad you're here. So, should you get rid of your iPhone, Android, and tablet in 2023? Well, that's a question we want to explore today, and I will answer later in this video. But first of all, yes, welcome to my channel. This is a new channel. It's called Log Into Yourself. You might ask yourself, what does it mean, log into yourself? Well, that's the whole topic. I hope you stay with me for a little bit. It's about building or rebuilding a connection with our inner wisdom. Because every day we log in, how many times here? 50 plus times on average. That's what the latest statistics tells us. And we pick up this thing every 20 minutes to get a little mini orgasm. So a mini orgasm, like a dopamine hit, by finding and searching for some new information, for a new post that a friend made of some juicy information, a juicy bit and of news or something that's happening in the world. And if we don't do that, we feel bored instantly. We really get nervous. And this channel is really about digital well-being to begin with. It's about how can we develop a good relationship with technology? How can we develop a good relationship with those devices and not be addicted to them? Because actually no one speaks about, not no one, but very few people speak about digital addiction. But if you really take a look at the behavior, it's addiction. Most of us are addicted to their devices. And this iPhone or this whatever Android phone that is not even the only device we use. We use a tablet, we use an Apple Watch, we use an Android watch, we have a TV, and there's so many choices in devices that we're constantly trying to manage them and connect with them. So on average, I think the average American spends over 8 to 9 hours in front of a device. I'm not talking about kids right here. I mean, that's a topic by itself. So I'm talking about adults that go to work, that go to school, that study, that have run a business or work for a company. They spend a ton of time on the device. And how much time is really needed to spend on that? How much time is really effective, productive time? How much time is actually just entertainment time to entertain our mind out of a habit? We're really unconscious. The moment we log into the device, we kind of become unconscious zombie-like to just see what is the strongest picture, the strongest color, the loudest music, the most extreme thing we can find that stimulates kind of a emotional response within us. And then we share it, and then we connect with our friends about it, and that becomes the topic. But where is the practice of actually logging into ourselves? And what do I mean by that? By maybe spending 15, 20 minutes, half an hour a day doing nothing, just being, not actually augmenting your reality. And it's so funny because augmented reality, everybody wants to work on develop an augmented reality device that makes the reality better or makes the reality more real, or I don't know what the real goal is. I mean, I understand they want to enhance our real experience, but what does it really mean? Is the enhancement not already inside us, in our own mind, in our own heart? That's the big question I want to explore. I really want to find out if the relationship to the device has changed our value system, has changed the way we perceive the world, the way we engage with each other, the way societies and cultures are created or maybe destroyed. We have to ask ourselves that. How many emotions do those devices stir up in us? Most of us get up in the morning and the first thing we do, we pick up the phone, we check the news, we check social media to get some kind of, to get it going, let's say it that way, to get the day going. We have breakfast on the way to work, we listen to a podcast, in the subway or wherever you work. If you drive to work, you listen to something. And then at work, of course, you have like Slack, email, and what other chat channels, project management systems coming at you, demanding your constant attention. You drive home, you listen to another podcast, you have dinner, you turn on the tube, you watch ESPN, you watch sports, you watch a movie, you watch Netflix. It's 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock, you go to bed, you check your phone one more time, and you have been successful. You occupied every moment, every single free moment in that day with information. Think about that for a moment. What does it do to your brain? How fatigued, how exhausted do you feel? So when I ask the question, should you get rid of your iPhone, your Android device, or your tablet, I would say no. But what you should be doing is to reevaluate your relationship with the device that creates that occupation. It occupies your mind. So now you could say, yes, maybe it's the attention of Google and Apple and all those tech companies to keep us addicted to that. But that's not an excuse, because they're understanding at least the problem. They have the digital well-being app on Android, they have the screen time app on the iPhone, and we'll talk about those later, how you can utilize them. But it really boils down to your own decision, to your own awareness of understanding, what do you do every 20 minutes when you pick up that device? What goes into your mind? You're not aware that you have to process that info at one point in the day, at one point, even if it's very superficial, not important information that you consume, your brain, like a processor, has to process that information, has to digest it. So the more you stuff in, the more you need to process. And so if we ask ourselves, well, so many people are depressed or feeling unhappy or dissatisfied constantly, is because of the information they consume. I'm not saying that's the sole reason. The question also is, what kind of information do you consume? Most of the information is controversial. It's being for something or against something. It always basically requires us to take a stance. And taking a stance hundreds of times a day is exhausting. So why not think about giving yourself some freedom, logging into yourself, disconnecting for even 5 minutes a day, taking some deep breath, and reevaluate how it feels like by experiencing unoccupied, unaugmented time. In the old Stone Ages, they said people only worked for 2 or 3 hours a day. And I don't want to make that example because it can be criticized from many different angles. But yes, people spend just time being, but just experiencing, because there is so much rich and wellness, richness and wealth in every moment. But we think the moment has to be augmented. The moment has to be filtered. It has to be recorded. It has to be shared. It has to be occupied by some form of media. And I'm a digital marketing consultant. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've built many websites. And many times the motivation of the clients and ourselves or myself was to really make that website sticky, that make people stick to that app that we've developed. But now I'm really thinking, over the last 3 or 4 years, I've become very self-aware and critical to think about, what does it actually do to the people's mind? Where's the freedom? Where's the freedom to choose? Where is the freedom to just be and not carry all the ideas, all the news, all the bad things that happen in the world with us continuously? We have a choice here. We have a choice, but we have to be aware that we have a choice. So for that reason, the beginning of this channel is really about creating an awareness of how you engage with your digital devices on a daily basis. And the first step would really be to turn on the screen time app if you have an iPhone, or the digital well-being app on your Android device. Just track for 1 week, how many times do you pick up the phone? I think most people actually don't use those apps. These are the really good apps you should be using. How many times do you pick up the phone on any given day, and how often do you pick up your phone? And how long do you spend on your phone? So that's a really, really important information to get, because what happens, there's no change until you become aware of an issue. And the thing with the digital addiction, I would say, is that it doesn't affect your life in a very bad way in the beginning. So now, we know all the situations. We go to dinner with friends and everybody's on their phone, and we just accept it. It's just what we do. We sit at the dinner table with our kids, and they all just want to be on their phone. They don't want to converse with us because it's boring. We are on the subway, people on the phone. We're on the beach, people on the phone. They take pictures. That's all good. But we are unconscious. I think we become zombie-like unconscious when we do that. And we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? What is what I want to get out of this pickup? When I pick up my phone, what am I expecting? And again, as I said in the beginning, it goes back to the dopamine loop. Every time you search for something, dopamine gets stimulated. and you try to find something. And when you look at something like an endless scroll, you scroll endlessly to Twitter or whatnot, and you expect something juicy to come up, and it almost comes up, but it never comes up. So they call it the endless scroll. The endless scroll was kind of invented to keep you on that device. So the real question, is how are we using it? And are we becoming aware to start using it less or more consciously? So I, for example, have like a screensaver on my phone that says, I'm choosing to pick up this device right now and then to check my email, to book a flight, to check the weather, or to check my map when I have to drive to Los Angeles, for example. So it's really a more intentional use that I'm promoting here. I think that's the first step. I'm not the person who would say, I'm working in digital media, throw away your phone, give it away. No, but it's really important to evaluate your relationship with it. What do you do with it? How do you do with it? And become aware, because there's a much, much bigger meaning behind that. First of all, we talk about digital well-being, right? So stress, sleeplessness, twitchiness, nervousness, depression, dissatisfaction, physical issues, they all are related. So they're all related to the overuse of the device. I mean, how many people suffer from stress? How many people are using medication? And many, that's a very sad story that we have to use anxiety medication, but we are not aware of how much those devices contribute, and the consumption of digital media contribute to that anxiety. So if you want to do something good to yourself, maybe you try to give yourself 5 minutes every day and experience the free space, experience the nothingness. Nothingness doesn't mean boredom. Nothingness means potential, means wealth, means richness. So that's how I did it for myself. I noticed at one point, and I'm just sharing my own experiences here. I noticed at one point that I cannot calm down. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I cannot calm down. I had to pick up the device continuously to check the sports news, to check the European news, the American news, and engage with someone. And I felt like my quality of sleep was gotten worse. My relationship with my spouse got worse. We didn't have deep, meaningful conversations because everybody was on to the next thing instantly. So I think I had enough pain to start creating some awareness around my usage. And if this inspires you, try the same. Try to put your phone consciously away. Try to put your phone consciously away for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Try to put your tablet or turn your TV off consciously away for 10 minutes a day, and just sit without doing anything else, not making a phone call, not reading a paper, not reading a book. Just try to experience some free space and see what happens. And the next thing that helped me is really to write down how much of the devices I used and how many times I picked them up and how long did I spend on them. That was a really, really helpful thing to really identify, wow, this is ridiculous. I picked up my phone 75 times today. 80% of those 75 times, it was just to check some random sports result or check some news, pick a news snippet or whatnot. And it didn't really enhance my life. It didn't make my life better. It didn't make me happier. It left me more dissatisfied because I came back for some more important information. So it really shapes our brain. This whole digital device usage shapes our brain. It really affects the way we create our value system. And it also you give away your power to the people who create the information and let them dictate what you should think. That's a really big topic. We have seen the last 2 or 3 years were not easy for many of us, and many of us didn't know what to believe and what not to believe. But the digital media didn't contribute that. They stimulated that dichotomy, that stimulated that yes or no, for or against. So I want to invite you to follow me along with this channel. I will post videos from time to time talking about digital well-being, talking about really having a conscious relationship with your device. And also giving you some strategies and tips, what has worked for me, what has worked for friends and family. And maybe that's interesting to you. And I hope to see you soon. I thank you for your attention and hope be well.